sci-fi horror film Nightmare Weekend, 1986.
The following feature has been rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America.
You are about to enter the 21st century of terror. Nightmare Weekend, when computer technology goes mad.
Now you're gonna die! Die!
And high-tech action gets out of control. Nightmare Weekend. A group of college students were invited to spend a pleasure weekend in a mansion. But instead experienced a nightmare weekend. Nightmare Weekend. The first high-tech terror film. Experience a lust for power so gruesome that you may lose your mind. Nightmare Weekend, when horrifying humans team up with murderous machines. When modern technology gets out of human control, the action never stops. Nightmare Weekend. It's the first high-tech terror. Nightmare Weekend. The 21st century of terror. Rated R.
Greetings, fiends. Today we are looking at the infamous sci-fi horror film Nightmare Weekend from 1986. Directed by Henry Sala and starring Debbie Laster, Dale Midkiff, and Deborah Hunter. The IMDb description as follows. A female scientist performs experiments on 3 college girls that turn them into drooling, murderous mutants. But that's only part of the story. Scientist Edward Brake, played by Wellington Mefford, is conducting experiments on behavior modification. He has successfully turned a vicious Doberman dog into a docile, friendly pet. Next up are human trials, and Dr. Blake's sleazy assistant, Julie Klingstone, played by Debbie Laster, is eager to get the tests underway. She pays 3 female volunteers to spend the weekend at a secluded house. She also has secret plans to make Dr. Brake's lovely daughter, Jessica, played by Deborah Hunter, the 4th guinea pig in the experiment. Jessica is a classic daddy's girl, and she often confides in her strange computer friend George, who looks like a demented version of Kukla from the Kukla, Fran and Ollie show, a TV program featuring puppets that was popular in the 1940s and 50s and had a brief resurgence in the 1970s. Dr. Brake has programmed George to protect Jessica at all costs. Here is one such hilarious scene in the first 30 minutes of the film where Jessica is playing a racing game on her computer, unaware that George also has control of the sleazy scientist Julie's car and attempts to kill her in an auto accident. This is the kind of psychotic, hot mess of a sci-fi horror film that is Nightmare Weekend. Even before the experiments to turn the girls into murderous mutants begin, we are shown the average life of young people hanging out at the local bar, where screwing on top of the pinball machine is apparently commonplace, and getting it on in the back of a limo while the driver tries to fix a flat is no big deal. In other words, the characters in this twisted little exploitation flick are already half out of their minds before the fun even starts. Nightmare Weekend is available on Tubi, so I'm not going to give away too much of the film, including the mechanism by which the girls are turned into these murderous mutants. But suffice it to say that it's one of the strangest things you're likely to ever see in a sci-fi horror film. Here are some very interesting behind-the-scenes facts I found from comments on IMDb. The first comment is from the guy who was the line producer for the film. Quote, "I was the online producer of Nightmare Weekend and was responsible for casting it. I have to agree that Nightmare Weekend may be the worst movie made of all time. The very fact that it has been considered for this category should speak volumes. However, while there is truth that this film was made for a direct-to-video release, as was popular in the 1980s, the film started with good intentions and a decent script. The problems arose when the co-executive producers, all from France and England, who were supposed to put up 50% of the $750,000 budget, decided that in lieu of money, they would provide a script, which was horrible and written in French, a director whose only credits I was told were porno pics out of Thailand, a film crew, again all from France, and some equipment. We never got our money's worth. When I represented the American contingent, looked at the script, I hired a new writer to rewrite the entire thing. However, when we finally arrived on location in Ocala, Florida, and began shooting, the French writer had once again rewritten the entire film on instructions from the co-executive producer, an Indian chap named Bachu Sen from India, by way of London. It was a joke, but once on location, there was little we could do. All of the young actors and actresses were having sex with one another, not that we cared. The acting was appalling, although I did take great pride in casting Dale Midkiff and Andrea Thompson, both of whom went on to somewhat successful careers. I currently practice law on Wall Street. The only good thing to come out of that film was my daughter, who is now 19, was conceived on location. I hope this clears things up for some readers." Unquote. Next, we have a comment from a relative of the director, Henry Sala. Quote, "I happen to be the director's nephew. It's taken me years to get my hands on a copy of this film, and I can confirm that it is indeed one of the worst movies of all time. My uncle doesn't even have a copy of it anymore. I asked. I'm looking forward to bringing him a copy. I'm giving copies of the movie to family members this year for holiday gifts." Unquote. Nightmare Weekend is a low-budget sci-fi horror schlocker that found distribution through Troma Entertainment, and it does deliver the prerequisite gore, sex, and nudity in abundance. And on that basis, I recommend it. Hands down, it is one of the weirdest, most delightfully deranged horror flicks currently on Tubi. And that's saying something. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.